China doesn't run on what's fair. It runs on what's beneficial to the individual. Now, before you can genuinely understand Chinese behavior, generosity, stubbornness, evasiveness, sudden warmth, or sudden coldness, you must realize what pragmatism, 现实, means in the Chinese cultural context, and how your Chinese counterparts assess their perceived personal benefits, or 好处. Now, there are two key words in our practical definition of 利益. First, it's perceived, because how Chinese behave is solely based on how they perceive their benefits. Now, what they will actually receive in some future scenario is essentially irrelevant in the present, because the continuous exchange of goodwill and Chinese reciprocity means things are always subject to change. Now, second is personal. Chinese pragmatism in this context refers to what is beneficial for the person you are interacting with. And this is where our Western assumptions can lead us astray. We assume that if we work for an organization, we should act in the best interest of the company we represent. Now, this would be the best of both worlds, but it creates a dilemma in China where personal benefits, or 利益, will certainly take precedence in Chinese psychology. Now, it's helpful to imagine that Chinese people think of every interaction, every goodwill exchange, and every face-saving gesture in terms of 利益, because in this reality, Chinese behavior makes perfect sense. Put another way, every meaningful decision runs through a mental, personal benefit calculus. This is how Chinese intuition works. This isn't selfishness. This isn't greed. It isn't even corruption. It's the invisible operating system that has kept Chinese society running harmoniously for thousands of years. And until you understand their version of what makes sense, your Guanxi may feel like it is deepening, but it won't get you very far. Now, as an exercise, let's imagine the characteristics of 利益, which in chapter 2 of the Chinese honeymoon period is how they operate. So, unlike in the West, where trust builds slowly and predictably, Chinese 利益 considerations are dynamic. What your Chinese counterpart perceives as beneficial will evolve continuously, especially as others in the Guanxi network become involved. It's also based on perception, not accuracy. This understanding helps Westerners contextualize our cultural differences. And finally, it's influenceable. Your goodwill gestures, face-giving attitude, and Chinese cultural awareness will influence their perceptions. Thus, you can alter their 利益 calculus. Now, most Westerners miss these attributes because we assume we're being evaluated on competence, character, and trustworthiness. But in China, the very meaning of each of these traits is itself a cultural dichotomy. All right, so in the next chapter, we'll analyze the different shades of gray, also known as yin yang, and we'll do this in the context of their cultural psychology. So if you're interested in this topic, my latest book, Speak Less, Guanxi More, is on sale, but for a limited time, I'm still giving away the entire 114-page PDF and flipbook for free. All right, see you in the next video.